I'm sorry, Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez this weekend destroyed Caleb Plant with an 11 round devastating KO. I wanted to say, I'm sorry. I'm no longer going to sit here and say that there's anyone out there that will beat Canelo Alvarez. I think all the questions are answered. I have to sit down and just realize, like, hey, look, Canelo's a flawed fighter. And Caleb Plant did show that you can expose certain things about Canelo Alvarez, but one thing that you cannot expose is the greatness of this man. I mean, at this point, Canelo Alvarez has defeated and become the undisputed 168-pound middleweight champ, super middleweight champ. At this point, there's nothing else to be said. I don't want to hear about, hey, maybe Canelo goes up to 175. Hey, David Benavidez. Hey, look, he beat everybody that he had to. He is undisputed and is now solidified as the greatest Mexican champion of all time. He's not a GOAT. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's the greatest fighter of all time, but that's not an argument to make right now because he still has a long career ahead of him if he chooses. However, at this point, I'm not going to lie to you. I think Canelo really has nothing left to prove. There's maybe one fight that, for his own legacy, maybe for himself, that he can generate an absorbent amount of money if he wants it. But at this point, Benavidez, Benavidez is a fantastic fighter, and I think he would give Canelo problems. But at this point, you can't just bet against Canelo. I've been on the opposite end of fights where I've doubted Canelo, and he just always comes out on top. I had Lara versus Canelo. He didn't get the decision, right? I had Sergey Kovalev. I thought he was doing great. You look at the scorecards, he wasn't. Daniel Jacobs. I don't think I had Daniel Jacobs, but when I was looking at the fight, I thought it was a closer fight than they gave it credit for. I thought Jacobs could have possibly won, but he didn't do enough. And then he didn't do it. Then Triple G. I had Triple G the first fight. I thought it was an easy fight. Then you look back, it was a draw. It was close. I thought Triple G did it, but he didn't. I thought Billy Joe was doing great. Billy doing his thing. I'm like, okay, let's see what he could do. He was giving him issues. It looked like maybe he didn't address all the flaws, but Billy Joe clearly wasn't doing enough in Texas Stadium with all those fans to get the nod. Then finally, this weekend, Caleb Plant. I had my money on Plant. I made my prognostications, and I thought Caleb Plant was doing a fantastic job in the fight. I thought I had two scorecards, in my opinion. I know I had the bias of me wanting Caleb Plant to win because it was my prediction. And then I also had, all right, how would I see this round if I was a judge or at the fight? Like when I was in Texas, I thought Billy Joe was doing good work. But when you heard that crowd, I couldn't even tell what was going on ringside. So I'm like, you know what? Let me look at the shots. Who would I think would win if I was there? And based on that scorecard, I had Canelo ahead 76-74, similar to that one judge before the stoppage. Then on my biased, I guess, card or my card, I had Caleb Plant doing fairly well. I thought Caleb had it close. Maybe it was down a round, but at the end of the day, the 11th round came and he knocked him out. So scorecards, how somebody was doing, gets thrown out the window. However, what I do want to say is Canelo's left hook to the body is truthfully one of the most dangerous weapons in terms of setting anybody up, whether you're a good boxer, a good puncher, in my opinion, in the game. That left hook to the body just sets up so much. And that was the key to this fight. I know people are going to cite, oh, it was pressure. Tactically, I think Caleb Plant made one mistake and he was doing great, moving around, doing his thing. One, I don't think he went to the body enough with the body jab. I wish he went more, and I wish he threw that right hand to the body and threw more right hands like he was doing when he started to get confident. The only issue I had was I think he got a little too full of his defense, and he kept looking for the hook to the body. His hand was here, and Canelo saw that, so he kept throwing the hook to the body. Missed, didn't have success. Caleb was getting comfortable and was like, oh, hey, I can counter this guy. And then the crashing hook came, and you saw what happened. So Canelo has tremendous pressure. Yeah, you can move on him, but he keeps showing time and time again, no matter what the flaw is, no matter what you do to show the flaw in his game, he just overcomes it with his greatness and his pressure, his experience, his intelligence in the ring. Canelo Alvarez is a great fighter, and I just at this point capitulate the fact that no one's going to beat him except Father Time, or if he does something silly like go all the way up to 175, which I just don't think at this point in his career he needs to do. I get people want him to challenge himself, but what are you going to gain by going up to 175 pounds? Fight better Biev, who is massive. He's huge. Come on. Why? Especially with the plant foot, come forward. Like there's really no upside to beating better Biev. He's not an undisputed champion. There's really no point in doing so. Canelo, we just have to accept the fact that he's done tremendous things in the sport, 4 division world champion, fantastic fighter. And at this point, what else do you want from the guy? I just don't see what else is a challenge. Maybe you fight Benavidez for one last fight, but I do think the Charlo fight is going to happen. I don't really think it's that competitive in my opinion. I feel that Charlo, like the others, will get walked down. Sure, he has a good right hand. Sure, he's young, he's strong. He's in the prime of his life, but Canelo right now, no one's going to beat him. And I just don't see the upside of fighting someone smaller than you. Maybe you do the Golovkin fight just to get an easy fight in and make a lot of money. I feel like at this point, Canelo, make a money fight and leave. You're 31 years old, great faculties. You've made an exorbitant amount of money. You have a legacy that everyone respects because say what you want. Canelo beat whoever was there. He's undisputed champion. And no matter what people think, becoming undisputed is difficult. I mean, he fought 4 champions and they were all hard fights. So say what you want about Canelo at this point. I'm not going against Canelo ever again. I don't think he's God. I'm not going to sit here and say he's unbeatable, but at this point, I just don't see the right style, the person with the right temperament to beat him. Caleb didn't have the pop. He fell asleep and got caught. Canelo Alvarez is a fantastic fighter, and I'm just going to sit here and say sorry, move on, and that's it. You're not going to get a decision. You're not going to knock Canelo out, so you're pretty much just a dead duck. You're collecting a check and going home. Shout out to Caleb Plant. I think he did a fantastic job. He made me proud. I'm sure he surprised a lot of people out there and showed that he does belong at the world level. And even Canelo acknowledged that in the fight when, if you look back, I actually have the video on one of my shorts. Caleb Plant was talking to Canelo, and Canelo acknowledged the fact that Caleb was good. Still knocked him out, but he's a good fighter. So I just don't see anybody beating this man. And what a great fight. Truthfully, it was a very entertaining fight. I thought it was worth it. Canelo just keeps coming. He started faster than we're normally used to seeing him. And he had to, because if he waited and let Caleb Plant gain confidence and score, really get into the fight, it could have been an issue. But ultimately, the fast start, the power, the body shots, Canelo Alvarez, GOAT Mexican of all time. That's it. I don't want to hear about Chavez. Chavez's resume is a little shaky. Salvador Sanchez, sure. But Canelo's been doing this at an elite level for a while with just fought nothing but champions. And yeah, at this point, Canelo's the greatest. So that's pretty much all I got to say. Follow the podcast at Good Boxing Podcast. Thank you for the subscriptions. We're almost at 1,000 followers. I would love to hit that by the end of next month before the new year, but just going to keep grinding, keep doing some content. I am going to make some changes. I have a rebrand coming. I changed up the logo a little bit. I also am looking to do some other things where my situation kind of has gone better and I'll have more time to actually record without interruptions. So I'm really, really excited for that and hope you enjoyed the fight because I did. My guy lost, whatever. Personally, am I annoyed? Yeah, because I love boxing. I want my guy to win. I love Caleb Plant. But at the end of the day, when you lose to a great champion like Canelo, there's really no shame. You had more eyes on you than you've ever had. You showed skills that a lot of people didn't think you had at the highest level, and you made it to round 11. So I don't know if there's ever such thing as a moral victory, but Caleb Plant's stock definitely went up. I don't think it took a dive. I would love to see Caleb and Benavidez, and maybe I don't know what Canelo does, but I just don't know what fight there's left. I think he should just ride off into the sunset. I know it's hard to walk away, but I just don't see any real challenge for Canelo without just going way too high. So yeah,